For my fourth vlog video, I will be talking about a couple of different things as I kind of just think about my whole trip all together, and I'll be talking about my takeaways that I've had through this experience, a couple of ways in which I feel I've grown and changed, and I will also discuss what I would say to someone when they ask me about my trip to Europe. So, starting with my greatest takeaways, first, I just think it was really cool seeing the international schools and just how these children were experiencing primary school compared to what I experienced. And I just thought the international schools were very positive because all these children were being surrounded by tons of different cultures, tons of different languages. Most of these kids spoke more than two languages. And I just thought it was fascinating because my school that I went to for elementary school, like we all looked the same and talked the same, but these kids are being able to learn about different cultures and not kind of have just like a one track mind of what everyone is like at a young age. And I just think that was really fascinating. And especially at the St. George's School, they even were doing a lesson on Hinduism, and I just thought it was really cool. They were learning about a religion that might not be their own, whereas my school, we didn't even talk about religion, like it wasn't supposed to be talked about. And I just think it was cool that they could be learning about a religion that their classmates might be a part of. And I was told they learned a new religion every Friday. So I just thought that was really fascinating. Another takeaway I had is just how different cultures can be and how many different experiences people can go through. And just that, like, no culture is necessarily right or wrong, but that's just the culture and what people are experiencing. For example, like the red light district, I know a lot of people in our group, including myself, was just like really shocked by that. But then you kind of take a step back and think about it, and like that's their culture. Like they might not know different. It's kind of a loaded question, but just going from that to also like the fact that so many European countries eat like bread for breakfast, and like we're all kind of like, what, like where's our like American breakfast? But it's just kind of like interesting to note that nothing's really right or wrong, like it's just what your culture is. um, Moving forward from that, ways that I think I've grown and changed after this trip, I really think I grew as a teacher, because I felt like I had new understandings of education systems, just by being able to see how some of these schools run their education and what they're learning. I really felt like a lot of the schools we saw were really focusing on making like a creative classroom environment and very open, which I really liked, and I would like to incorporate that into my own classroom one day. And at the Amsterdam International School, they were doing an inquiry lesson, and I thought that was very cool, and it was so fun to watch. Um, and I really want to try to do that into my own classroom, so I felt I grew by just experiencing that and seeing that. And at the St. George's International School, I was so impressed because they were doing coding on computers, and they were in like second grade, where in my second grade, I think we were like learning to type. I don't really remember exactly, but it was just really fascinating how smart some of these kids were and the things they were doing. And I just feel like that made me grow as a teacher, recognizing some of the things that like your students can be capable of, and maybe some ways in which our education system should be challenged a little more. And these kids are capable of doing so much more than you might think, which I thought was also cool because it related to one of my goals that I really want, um, to get different views on schools and what students think. I also learned about myself that I don't like big crowds and I prefer smaller cities that are quaint. And I also felt this trip further confirmed how excited I am to be a teacher. And then lastly, what will I tell people about my trip to Europe? Obviously, I'll say it's awesome, but I think I'd say that it was great because I got a really good balance of seeing a bunch of different schools, but also being able to explore cities and different countries and like really immersing myself into different cultures in such a short amount of time. Because I thought that was really fun seeing different places. Also, that it's beautiful and you must go if you have the chance. And I think lastly that the Eiffel Tower is not overrated. It's amazing, and that was by far my favorite part of the trip. When we were sitting on the lawn just watching it light up. And I guess just that it's really cool if you have the chance to put yourself in different cultures and really interact with other people that might be different from you and be able to see some of the things that are going on around the world, by people, technology, different foods, and just really experiencing it and like making it a full circle trip. So I had so much fun this trip, and I really recommend it to anyone that can, and I'm excited to talk about it with other people.